looks like Facebook has updated some of their stuff, and I don't like it. So, but... No, my phone went off with the notification, so...
I got to go to my home one for this, so I can see how many people are live. That was an email.
Significantly worse than normal.
Like how much?
10 seconds.
Wow, okay.
We got Scotland and we got Argentina already.
Heck yeah!
Alright, you got 39 people. Start tying, don't lose them.
It's not even 7 o'clock yet.
I don't care.
It is just now 7.
See, now we're at 38.
38, alright, so.
Spin that thing.
Oh, hold on. My volume's up over here. There we go. Alright, what's happening, guys? First off, can everybody see and hear me okay? Hey, Mark Stover. Been a while, but I've been following. What's up, Mark? So we've got, I just want to make sure they can all hear everything.
We got Australia, too.
Australia? We can, and Canada. Yeah.
Canada.
Okay, I've got a yes. Should get a few more yeses here.
Alright, we got a couple. Everyone can see and hear. We're good.
Are you in a hurry or something?
We're at 41.
Right, 41.
We're back down to 38.
38.
So if people don't want to look at you, people want to watch you tie. So get the tie.
All right, mouth. Iowa. Woo, look at all these people turning in. All right, guys, how you doing? We're here live from Tuckasegee Fly Shop. Oh, no, that was last weekend. So we're here live from our basement. And we were down in South Carolina this past week at Tuckasegee Fly Shop. And we unveiled the toolbar, which you can see right here, which we are now completely and 100% sold out of. So if you purchased, thank you very much. If you didn't purchase, we will have them back up on the website in a couple of weeks. They're at the anodizer right now getting all the colors put on them. So while we were down there, and I cannot find the end of this chenille. Where the hell is it at? While we were down there, we got to fish half a day with Shannon from the shop. And he took us to, I believe it was the West Fork of the Pigeon River. And it's beautiful, beautiful river down there. I love every time we go down there. I want to spend a week down there. I really do. It's just unbelievable area. Absolutely beautiful. And we got to spend about half a day on the water. It was myself, Braden, and Casey, and Shannon. And fished, I don't know, maybe about 100 yards of river or so. And I thought for tonight I would just tie up a bunch of the... can't see your...
It's the vice because of the camera. It's fine. Just...
Oh, that's a camera. That when we switch to the this is a camera. When we switch to the close-in camera, you won't be you'll be able to see fine. Jody Severance, how's things in Jersey? I don't know, Jody. We live in Delaware, but Jersey's like, I was going to say Jersey's like a whole nother country across the river. But what I thought we would do is I thought I'd just tie up a bunch of the patterns that we fished this past weekend down there, and I've got 8 patterns prepped tonight, and these are all fairly simple, for lack of a better term, guide flies. So we'll just get right into it. So this first one, we've got a Mustad R75 79 580 and a 10. Oh, and that is a 2x heavy 5XL streamer hook, and we're going to add to that some 15 thousandths lead wire. All right, so
Buzzy's on here. He goes, Jersey's great.
so we're going to take the wire, we're going to put it through the eye of the hook, and then we're just going to spin the vise, and we're going to lay that wire on there nice and even until I catch the eye of the hook. Just like so. Let me take a couple of those off. Alright, now I'm going to break that off. And I'm going to take my bodkin out of my tool bar, which incidentally, if you saw the live, you saw where I said I had a bit of a trouble with this product because I am not a toolbar type of guy. I've never had one on my vise, and it's just, I had trouble designing it because it's just not something that I ever used. And we went to the ambassadors and we asked a bunch of the ambassadors their opinions, and we got some really good feedback, and we designed the product up, and now I tied on it obviously at the demo last week, and I love the thing. I'm going to have like 2 of them hanging off my vise this year at the shows. The biggest challenge that I have is remembering to put the stuff back in the toolbar when I'm done, and if I can remember to do that, I really like it. So I'm glad that we got that product designed and glad that we got it out there.
Shannon said he still has some toolbars at the shop, so
there you go.
If you guys need a toolbar, get a hold of Shannon. He may be one of the only people that has one right now.
Yeah, he has one, and then there's a dealer up in Canada, Rocky Mountain Fly Shop. They have them, but I don't think they actually have them in the shop yet. I think they're probably still in customs, but we left a bunch of them down at Tuckasegee, so I believe it is flyshopusa.com is their website. I'm not sure if they're up there, but you can call the shop, and Big Mess will get you hooked up. All right, so I got my 15 thousandths lead base on. I've got some 6/0 Vivis ultra thread or power thread, and basically I'm just going to build just a little bit of a thread dam up in front of that lead, and then I'm going to wrap to the back, and I'm going to build a little bit of thread dam up behind it just so the lead doesn't go anywhere. Okay, now I'm going to pull out some medium chartreuse chenille. At this point, everybody should know what this fly is. I will, a lot of times I will tie this with a bead on it, the traditional way, or the quote-unquote Charlie Mech style. And if Ed O'Donnell is watching, if I don't tie it Charlie Mech style, he'll be mad at me. Is tied this way with the lead under wrap. So I've stripped the core, and I've tied the core in, and then I'm just going to wrap this back to right above the barb of the hook. This is one of my favorite flies to use as an attractor fly in a 2 or 3 fly rig, and I fished this one and one of the other flies most of the day on Sunday and did very well. Well, I didn't do so well, but I didn't fish that much. I was working with Casey, and she was working on her tight line game, and she was on point. Alright, so you can see I've got a little bit of loop in the tail. And I'm just going to wrap that back to my tie-in point. That just saves you a little bit of an ugly spot there in the back. I'm going to get up here to the front. I'm going to throw a half hitch in. I'm going to go on the cradle. And now we're just going to wrap this right up the shank of the hook. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. Come off the cradle, and we'll go 3 behind, 3 in front, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to clip this off. I'm just going to do a little push-pull, so I'm pulling up on the material, and I'm going to put my scissors and I'm going to push down at the same time, and that'll give me a nice clean cut right there on the bottom. And now I'll just kind of take my fingers and I'll stroke this back, and we'll build up a nice clean little compact head on this dude. And we will take the whip finisher out of my handy dandy Nor-vise Legacy toolbar, and we'll do 2 3-turn whips. And there you go. That is the Charlie Mech style green weenie. It's a 5XL streamer hook. I probably put a little more lead underneath than some people do, but like I say, I like to use this as an anchor fly in a 2 or 3 fly rig. And I fish this a lot. I'll fish it on stock streams. I'll fish it on wild streams as well. I don't catch a lot of fish on this fly. I do catch fish on it. I don't catch a lot of them, but I will trail a like a Frenchie or a Rainbow Warrior or something behind this, and I think they see this one and it gets their attention, and then they'll swim over and they'll eat the quote unquote natural that's behind it. So there you go. That's the green weenie. All right, sticking with the same hook. Get this in the vise here, get it straight. There we go. Okay, I'm going to switch threads. And this is a Danville's flat waxed 6/0. And I'm going to tie on, and we're going to lay a thread base down. Now this one, the way that I put the lead on the green weenie is the way that I normally will put lead on. I don't want to go, I want to go just in front of the point of the hook. Okay, now for this one, we're going to put some 20 thousandths lead wire on. And I tie this one on a little different, and there's a specific reason why I do that. Usually I'll just put the lead through the eye of the hook and just tie it on that way. This one I'm going to tie the lead on at the back of the hook, and you'll see why here in a second. I'm going to tie it on with a figure-8 wrap, and I'm going to take that up to the front, throw a half hitch, and go on to my cradle. Okay, now I'm going to wrap this forward, and this lead underbody is going to give me kind of the shape of what I'm looking for. Alright, you can see I'm putting nice successive wraps. They're laying right next to each other. Now you don't want to go all the way up to the eye. You want to leave yourself a little space, about that much. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this lead and I'm going to wrap it back over top of itself. So I'm going to put lead wraps on top of the wraps that are on the hook shank, but they're going to go in the other direction. So you got to kind of move your lead to the back. And I do have my lead in a cheap bobbin. I think it just makes it easier to handle that way. So now what I'm doing is I'm wrapping this lead on top of the first batch, and I'm going to go about halfway, and this is going to give me the underbody that I'm looking for. Again, this would be another anchor fly in a 2 or a 3 fly rig. Okay. I got some wax in my bobbin here. Alright, now I'm going to kind of use my thread, and I'm going to just kind of blend this all in so I don't have these real abrupt steps where it leads from the lead to the hook shank. And I'm just kind of trying to blend this in. I want, when we get done, we want this thing to be the shape of like a cigar. And I think that's good. And we'll throw a half hitch on here. Actually, no, I don't. I want to throw the half hitch on at the back. I'm going to throw the half hitch on back here. There we go. And we'll go on to our cradle. Now we're going to get some of our handy dandy hare's ear number 1, natural hare's ear dubbing. We're going to get a pretty good chunk out of here. This is going to take a lot of dubbing, and we're going to tease it out. If there's any mats in here like that right there, that is not going to dub, so that's got to come out. It can go right in the trash. We're just going to tease this out, just get it all nice and light and fluffy. There's a big mat right in the middle. Here it is. This is the end of this pack, so it can get a little ornery down in there. Okay. Now, we've got it teased out. I'm going to spin the vise, touch the dubbing to the thread. Dubbing jumps out of my fingers up onto the thread. And we're going to lay out a pretty good size dubbing noodle. And I don't think that that's enough. Let me put a little bit more on there. I have a tendency to overshoot the runway on this pattern a lot, so I might be flirting with disaster here, but let's see. I don't think so. Tyler's not saying much over there tonight.
No, we're focusing on the tie-ins, seeing if the views are good with just tying or not. We're holding more people than we have the past couple weeks.
There we go. So I've got my dubbing on there. I'm going to tighten it up just a bit. So I'm going to pinch the thread here at the end of my dubbing noodle and spin it. Now I'll come off the cradle. And we'll start right at the end of that kind of taper that I built with my thread, and then we're just going to work our way forward. And basically the way that I did that lead and the way I built those ramps, for lack of a better term, are going to give me the shape that I'm looking for. And Tyler said that I overshot the runway, and this baby is going to be perfect. Whammo. Ooh, hold on, not quite whammo yet. There's whammo. Okay.
Looks like a hairball.
Huh?
Looks like a hairball.
It's I don't it's the I've definitely got some wax buildup in this bobbin. It's the oh my God. Walts Worm. Good Lord, I could not think of the name of that fly for the life of me. And it's a crane fly larva pattern, but this thing just catches fish, and it catches trout everywhere that you fish it. Absolutely killer pattern. Again, with all that lead, it's a great anchor pattern in a 2 or 3 fly rig. So this would be in the center, and then above it I would have usually a soft tackle fly. What is Michael Collier doing? It says Michael Collier is viewing like 500 times on here. It just keeps repeating. So there you go. That is Walt's worms. Crane fly larva, could be a caddis larva, could be really anything. I've had these where the fish, they just eat them down to the point of you can see the lead coming through the dubbing. So yeah, this is a killer fly. If you want to brush it out, you can take your little Velcro brush and brush it out a little bit. I don't think you really have to. Once they get a couple of fish on them, they start getting kind of buggy and ratty looking, which is what you want. So again, easy fly to tie, should be a staple in every trout fisherman's fly box. Walt's worm. Any questions on anything? Tyler?
No.
No questions? All right.
That guy's going back and forth about the legality of lead wire, but we don't need to get into that.
No, and there is some places where lead wire and lead split shot are not legal. In our area, it is, and I do use it. Like Tyler said, I'm not going to get into the debate of lead versus non-lead, but if it's not legal in your area, then I would advise that you don't use it. Okay. Pattern number 3 is one of my go-tos. This is the pattern. I know I've tied it on here before, and I demo this one at the shows a lot. This fly, I believe, accounted for all of the fish that Casey and I landed last Sunday. And I know it accounted for my two, and actually I don't think I know it accounted for all of the fish that we landed. So the hook, it is either a I believe this is a Firehole 315. It's a size 14. It's a jig. It's a barbless jig hook. Been using a lot of jig hooks lately. Been using a lot of barbless jig hooks, and I really like them. So we're going to switch threads. We're going to go to a 6/0 flat waxed in a red. We've got a slotted bead on there. I believe that is a 3mm slotted tungsten. And I'm just going to build a little thread dam up here just to keep that bead up on the bend portion of the hook. Like so. And then I'm going to lay just a little bit of thread base down. You can do it that way, or you can do it with the vise. The jig hooks, you got to go a little slower because you got the eye, and you got to get in between the down eye and the hook point. So you just got to be a little careful. Actually, I'm going to take that off. I don't like that. That's what we're going to do right there. All right, so for the tail on this guy, just going to be a few fibers of red pheasant tail. You can use natural. I believe the original pattern calls for natural. I kind of like the red. I just think it looks cool. I don't really know if it has anything to do with the if one or the other catches more fish. But I know that I like the red, and I think the red looks cool. So if I think the red looks cool, I'm going to fish it better, and therefore I may catch more fish. So I measured up. I'm going to go the length of the shank of the hook, and we'll offer the material in at a 45. We'll do a loose wrap, a medium wrap, and a tight wrap. And if you do that right, that should walk that right up on the shank of the hook. And we'll just wrap this in here, clip it off. This has become one of my absolute go-to nymphs. I fish it all the time. Alright, so we've got red body, and over top of that we're going to put, this is just standard pearl flashaboo. One strand out. We were pretty much tight lining the whole time. I had Casey working a tuck cast, and she was doing great. She hooked 8 fish, I believe. She landed 2. Landed her first ever brook trout, which was kind of cool. I was fishing TFO's new stealth rod. That rod is awesome. So we've got the lead, or the red underbody, and then I'm just going to take this flashaboo, and we're just going to wrap it. Get up on there. Nope, don't do that to my tail. There we go. And we're just going to wrap this flashaboo over top of the red underbody. Oh, no, you didn't. All right.
Regular flashaboo?
It is, and guess what we're going to do, because I pulled the wrong material. Yeah. There.
It looked like, I saw that first turn on there. It looked like it.
Yeah, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. So, bear with me because I pulled the wrong material. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I just had it earlier. Come on. There it is. There we go. All right. We should be using saltwater flashy boot for this. It's a bit wider and it gives it, in my opinion, a better look when you wrap the body. And that little stuff is a little bit fragile.
Jody Severance goes, are those your pajama pants?
They are. Because when I get done, we've had a weekend, I'll tell you that. I am tired. Tyler and I spent some time in the duck blind yesterday. And this morning we went sporting clay shooting, and then we worked for the rest of the day. And when I get done here, I'm going to go get on the couch and probably watch probably The Walking Dead. Alright, there we go. Playing with that hook point, something fierce. There we go. Now we just walk that right up to the bead and you get a really cool looking red flashy underbody. And we'll come in here and cut this off. Now the original pattern calls for you to use the flashy boot as a wing case. I don't do that. I haven't done that for years. I honestly do not think it brings anything to the pattern whatsoever. Again, that's optional. And okay, so now we've got, this is Rainbow Scud Dub, and it's the light color. They have two. They have a light and a dark. This is the light. And we just need to tease a little bit off of here. Don't need much. We're just on a collar. Okay, spin the vise, touch the dubbing to the thread, and we'll tighten that up. Okay, come off the bobbin cradle, and then we're just going to kind of fill in this area here at the top, right up there to the bead, about right there. And we'll get our whip finisher. Try not to hit the camera. And there you go. That is the Rainbow Warrior, or my version of the Rainbow Warrior. This fly accounted, I know, for every fish that Casey and I hooked and landed. I know Braden, he was throwing a little streamer for a while. Well, of course, Braden throwing a streamer. There's a surprise. He was throwing a little streamer. I know Shannon was throwing one of the patterns that I'm going to do here in a minute. For us, this one accounted for every fish that we hooked and landed. That's the Rainbow Warrior. This is this is what I call an American Express fly. You don't leave home without it. So I think I've demoed that on here before, but it definitely bears repeating.
Ryan Bujika asked if we got any ducks.
Well, what had happened was, yes, we got some ducks. We should have got more ducks. We had a drake and a hen wood duck come into the spread. No calling, no nothing. They just committed, came right into the spread.
Oh, so Patrick Robinson's on. So
Oh, is he?
You're saying the birds came in no calling or anything, right?
No calling. No. Did not call. I was calling good yesterday too, but they came in and I of all the duck hunting that I've done, and I haven't done much for a couple of years, but I've done a lot of duck hunting. I have never killed a Drake wood duck. And he came in. I didn't even call the shot. I didn't even tell Tyler that we were shooting. I just put my gun up, and this thing is right in my face, and I missed that sumbitch 3 times. And it kept me up last night. I couldn't sleep because I kept replaying it through my head.
That's karma for not calling the shot. Oh shit, there's ducks. Boom.
That's
what we're doing now.
That was pretty much it.
I know you're out of practice, but
that's how we were out of practice. What happened today on the Sporting Please range?
I meant out of practice with calling the shot.
Oh, with calling the shot, yeah. Well, the way I call the shot is when you hear my gun go off, you start shooting. Or I'm going to start take them to the train station. All right.
Yeah, you'll get out and I'll drop them.
Next fly, same hook, and you can tie these in a variety of different sizes. These are all going to be on the Firehole 315. It's a barbless jig hook, great hook. Arex makes a great jig hook. I don't know the number of it right now, but
we got some bulk packs in there.
Yeah, you can scale it up or scale it down. 14s are kind of our go-to around here, 14 and 16. And I like tying when I'm doing nymphs, demoing 14s because you guys can see them on the camera.
Ryan goes, my pride is my canvas back.
I don't have one of them either, but yeah, has Patrick chimed in yet? I got canvas backs and I got
That's alright. We get some sea ducks and stuff out here.
Yeah.
That we don't get out there. There's.
Okay. Now look, you got me talking duck hunting and I almost forgot a material.
Yeah, I'm good with my pintail.
Yeah, pintails are cool. Yeah, it was a good opening day. I mean, we probably saw, I don't know, 60, 75 ducks. They weren't decoying very well. We're on a public marsh, so that doesn't help. But you know, it is what it is. We couldn't take the boat out because of the tide. It was dead low when we were going to put in, and when it's dead low in the tidal marshes in Delaware, you cannot take a boat out. Yeah. All right, so I've got my hook on. I put a little thread base down to keep the bead up on the bend of the jig hook, and then I'm going to go to some small copper wire. And whenever you're ribbing, this is going to be a counter rib for our body material. You want to tie it on the side of the hook facing you, and this will become very apparent why we do this here. So you want to lay that down on the side of the hook facing you. Wrap it all the way back to the back of the hook shank, and then we're going to wrap forward just a little bit. Okay, now this technique I'm going to show you, if you're going to do it this way, you've got to have good long fibers off of your pheasant tail. Okay, if you have little bitty short fibers, this will not work. You have to do it in 2 steps. But these look pretty good, so we're going to go ahead and give it a shot. So I'm going to peel off a handful, I don't know, maybe a 1/4 inch or so. I'm going to even up the tips, and then I'm just going to peel them off of the center stem of the fiber. So this way, we're going to do the tail and the body in one shot, and this is why you got to have long fibers to do this. So I'm going to measure up the length of my tail. I want about the length of the shank of the hook, which is right there.
Do you use any woolly buggers over there for trout?
Yeah, a lot of people do. I don't, and the reason that I don't, it's not because I think I'm holier than thou and I'm above the woolly bugger. It's that everybody fishes woolly buggers, and I don't want to fish what everybody else fishes. So we're going to do a soft wrap, a medium wrap, and a hard wrap, and that's going to walk that tail right up on the top of the shank. So now we're going to take this and we're going to fold it back, and I'm going to wrap back over top of this right to the point to where we tied our tail in, and then I'm going to bring it forward. I had a discussion with Tim Camisa, Trout and Feather, about this particular pattern, and they're so easy to tie, and they're so effective. It really is one of the best flies out there. And getting back to the woolly bugger, I don't fish a ton of streamers, especially for trout. I'm not a streamer guy. I like nymphing. I honestly, I would rather nymph than fish with a dry fly. Now, I know a bunch of my Central Bay guide buddies' heads just exploded right then, but I love the nymphing game. I love watching the indicator. I love tight lining. I love dry and dry. I just love everything about nymph fishing. All right, now we're going to take this body and we're going to wrap it up. And if it starts, you can see where it's starting to loosen up on me there. You can give it just a little twist, and that'll tighten that right back down for you. Give you a nice, clean looking body. And we're going to go right to there. Now this is the hardest part, because this is why you've got to have good pheasant tail. There we go. You got to have good long pheasant tail, because you can't, and I will a lot of times, I will do this with hackle pliers, which makes it a lot easier. There you go. And we'll pull these fibers back. Give it a couple wraps in front. Bring it around. We'll come in here. Actually, I'm going to get my fine point scissors for this one. And we're going to come down and whammo, clip that right off. Okay, and I'm just going to cover up those kind of ends of that pheasant tail that I got sticking out there. Okay, now, a little bit earlier, I said we want to tie the your ribbing on the side of the hook facing you. And this is why we do this. When you wrap your body, you're wrapping over the shank of the hook. When you wrap your ribbing, you wrap under the shank of the hook, and it's what we call a counter wrap. So your ribbing and your body material form kind of an X, and it makes it a more durable body. Well, have you ever went to do your ribbing and you take your first wrap and you pull it down, and it takes your tail and it will typically walk it to the back side of the fly? All right, that's probably happened to everybody. When you tie the ribbing on the side of the hook facing you, your first wrap, the tension on your first wrap right here is on the bottom of the shank of the hook. And by the time you get back up on top of the fly, you've already started working your way forward onto the fly. And that first tension being on the bottom of the shank of the hook won't affect your tail position. Your tail will stay right where it is. And we just set our angle, and we just slowly work that up, giving us a nice segmentation on this fly, as well as a good bit of durability. Oh, I just knocked that camera way out of whack. Here we go. And we'll do 3 wraps behind, 3 wraps in front, and then I'll repeat that again. 3 behind, 3 in front, and then we'll just take and we'll helicopter this wire off, and it'll break right at the tie-in point. Alright, one last step, and we're going to bring her home. Alright, for the collar on this one, we're going to use Senyos Laser Dub. This is fluorescent hot orange. This is one of my favorites. I also like pink on this. I also like shell pink, and then once in a while I'll do a yellow. But this fire orange is my go-to. So we got a little bit of dubbing teased out. Spin the vise, touch the dubbing to the thread, get on that thread. There we go. And bring that out of my fingers. We're going to tighten that up, so I'm going to pinch it right here at the end of the noodle, spin it, get it nice and tight. Pull that out. Okay. Come underneath and What is that? Get off of there. Just going to put this little hotspot collar on there. And there you go. That is your
Thanks, Patrick. I
Frenchie.
appreciate it.
What did Patrick say?
Oh, I got pictures of canvas backs and red
Yeah.
heads. I'm like, yeah. Watch how quickly you turn into my duck guide too, Patrick.
Yeah. I got a redhead. I've got a golden eye, but that was claimed by somebody else. I don't have a canvas back. So that's the Frenchie. Size 14, probably a size 16. Oh, man. Probably.
We're going to move to Ohio.
Yeah, I know.
It's over with.
Probably a size 16 would be probably the most popular choice, but 14s are good. And don't forget these guys for steelhead either. This is your basic Frenchie. All right. No questions?
No.
Or does everybody just want to talk about duck hunting?
Talking about duck hunting and
Yeah.
talking about Jody Severance messaging Shannon because I'm pretty sure he's going to get a toolbar.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hit up Big Mess. I think they kept 2 of every color. I believe. Don't quote me on that.
Brian Bujika said ducks.
Ducks. Talk about ducks, yeah.
It's not cold enough that most people have entered fly tying
Yeah,
season yet.
it's all right.
A lot of people have entered waterfowl hunting mindset.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Trust me.
And you're not putting anything back in your toolbar.
No, I'm not. And I gotta, it does work, man. If I can remember.
He's got everything. I just looked at the big camera. He had everything.
No, I put it back. If I can remember to put it in there, and I'll tell you, having the hooks in the tray was awesome because I could just grab a hook and boom, go right into the vise. I think that's why I tied more flies at this demo than I did any of the other ones. So this is a bit of a combo pattern, and this is one of, I call it one of mine. I cannot believe that somebody in the world has not done this before. And if they have, they're a smart person. So it's a combination of 2 of my favorite nymphs, the Frenchie and the Prince, and I call this the French Prince. So I got a little bit of olive. I believe that is 6/0 unit thread. Any olive thread will do. Thread color doesn't really matter because if you do what you're supposed to do, you won't see it anyway. All right, so we're going to get about back to the barb, or back to the point of the hook. Ooh, that's a lot of rubber legs came out of there. All right, so we got some white rubber legs, and we're going to just cut a little piece, and we're just gonna lay that on top of the hook shank, and we'll do a soft, a medium, and a hard wrap. And I'm going to wrap these back to the end of the hook point, and then I left a little bit on there, so I'm going to wrap this forward.
Shannon said you tied more flies because you were sitting next to the legend.
Oh, we're going to get into that conversation now.
I shouldn't even have read
The legend. So Braden is now the legend. He had a little kid, not a little kid, but he was about 12 years old. And he came in and he's like, oh my God. He went right past me. He didn't even give me a sniff. He walked right past me and went right to Braden. And he's like, you're the guy. You're the guy from the YouTube channel. And you tie all the game changers, and just on and on and on about Braden. And then the kid's dad came in, and the kid's dad called Braden the legend. So we shot a bunch of video the other day. Now I'm going to take these, and I'm just going to lay this forward, and I'm going to use the this is a big mess trick. I'm going to use this to measure out the length of, and you don't want to pull these because if you pull them tight and cut them, they're going to be short, so you don't want any tension on it. but you want your tails about the length of the shank of your hook. And then when you let them go, boom, they just go right back where they're supposed to. But yeah, this kid comes in, and then his dad comes in and he goes, "Oh, you're the legend." So we were shooting video last week for the website, and the videographer that we had, he kept calling me the talent. So all week we had a couple presentations to do, and I told Tyler he's got to carry the laptop and the projector and all that, and he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "The talent doesn't carry."
Yeah, and I told you to go blank yourself.
So then Braden was down there, and he's the legend. So then we told Casey, well, if the talent doesn't carry and the legend doesn't carry, then I guess she's got to carry everything.
And I think she told you to go blank yourself.
And we learned very quickly that that wasn't going to work. So then Braden and I were carrying everything. All right, so I got 4 or 5 strands, Peacock hurl, clipped the tips off, tied them on to the what?
Patrick sent a picture. He goes, "This is for your dad. Tell him sweet dreams."
Oh yeah, beautiful
Then
wood
he said
duck.
after the live, of course.
Oh.
I'm like, well, and I skipped that.
Yeah. All right. So we thanks, Patrick. So we've got about 4 or 5 peacock hurls on there. I clipped the tips, tied them onto the front of the hook. Now I'm going to lay them out over here. Now watch what's going to happen here. I'm going to use the thread to reinforce my peacock hurl. So I'm just going to spin that baby, and it's just going to make a nice peacock hurl chenille. And one of them broke, and we're going to take care of that right now. Just come in there and get him out of there. Okay, so now I'm going to come off my my cradle, get that tail up out of the way, and we're going to wrap one back. We're going to go all the way back to the tails, and then we're going to wrap right back over top of that body again. Right to there.
What's Tyler's nickname?
I can't say that on the live.
I got mine last November.
Yeah.
You can't say that on the live? That's not bad.
Okay, so I'll say it on the live. So, well, he said something about, I forget what it was.
No,
and he
we
said,
were taking pictures.
Okay.
And I made sure that I had my Costa sweatshirt on and my TFO hat for some of the brands that have been nice enough to let me get deals, so I wear their logos. And Casey Miller made a comment of, "Why don't you have any Nor-vise stuff on?" And I very candidly said, "I am Nor-vise. I don't need to wear Nor-vise."
You said you're the face of Nor-vise.
I said I am Nor-vise. Somebody said you're the face of Nor-vise, and I believe you said you're the mouth of Nor-vise.
No, I said you're the ass of Nor-vise. That's what I said.
Yeah. Oh, Casey said mouth, and we went with mouth.
Oh, that's laser hair. That's laser hair. That's what I'm looking for, right there. Light
See, it is nice when you start to remember where the stuff is.
Yeah. All right, so for the collar on this dude, we've got our white tails, and this is very, very similar to the Frenchie, but it's basically a Prince Nymph body. And you can play around with the colors. You could do this one in a hot orange if you want. This is more of a natural kind of nymph that doesn't have the hot spot. A little bit of light olive, Senyos laser dub. Spin that vise, dubbing jumps out of your fingers up onto the thread. Tighten her down. And now we're going to fill in this spot here in between the bead.
Joe Bragg, I'm going to start deleting your comments. You keep it up.
What'd he say?
I remember a waitress at a dinner place.
I just happen to own a fly vise company. That's a story for another time.
Shannon Messer goes, "Joe Bragg, I was thinking the same thing. Does he know that one?"
Oh yeah. We told that story at.
You're talking about me behind my
oh,
back.
all right.
Okay.
So hold on.
Nope.
So last Sunday was my Shannon and I, Big Mess and I have the same birthday. So last Sunday was my 50th birthday. It was his 51st birthday. and I got tons and tons of birthday wishes on Facebook and everything, and I want to thank everybody for that. Brittany put together a super cool slideshow for her live that had some pictures of me that I'm not quite sure why my wife picked some of the pictures that she picked. But
which ones are you talking about?
the one where I'm in like second grade and I got on a striped jumpsuit and my little bowl cut that my mom dressed me in. That one could have not been there. There was another one of me in like fifth grade that I wasn't crazy
I was
about.
thinking about some of the ones when you're older, or one of the ones from last November.
Oh, where Braden hit me in the private area with the woolly
With
bugger.
his back cast?
Yeah, that was
funny.
No, that was not funny.
I had nothing to do with that either. That was in the slide before I even sent my pictures in.
So there is the French prince, and again, you can play around with the tail and the body are typically white, and then the collar you can play around with different types of dubbing and so forth. Killer pattern. If you have a Frenchie on with the hot orange and they're turning off of that, you may want to put the French prince on. Easier to tie than a Prince Nymph, and I think it's just as effective. So there you go. I think that's one of mine. I've never seen it before, but if somebody out there has that pattern, don't call me up and send me hate mail. All right. What do we got? We got 3 more. Where are we at on time? 7:49. We might not get all 3 of them. Let me go this route. This is one of my absolute go-to attractor nymphs. This is one of mine. It's called the PFN. It stands for Philadelphia Flyers Nymph. Hope nobody from the NHL is listening. And the reason that we call it that is because of the color scheme. So, if you read anything by Charlie Meck, he is a huge proponent of the fact that trout love blue. He's got the blueberry, his Patriot that's in blue. Trout just love blue. Well, I kind of feel the same way about orange. And this was kind of an attempt to say, all right, how much orange can I squeeze into one nymph? So we've got, this is a size 12, Tiemco 5262. We have a 3/16 diameter hot orange tungsten bead on there. I'm going to do the same type of tail that we just did on the French Prince. I keep thinking of Fresh Prince. And then I think of Jeffrey, Breakout Lucille. Alright, so...
You're a Blackhawks fan living in Nevada?
Who's a Blackhawks fan living in Nevada?
Ryan's in Nevada, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said it's Blackhawks for me. I mean, I don't have any problem with the Blackhawks.
Blackhawks are a good team. Patrick Kane's arguably the best American-born player ever.
I prefer Griswold. Number 00.
00. All right, same deal. We're just going to fold these forward and cut them right, and I'm going to use my fine point scissors for that. Remember, don't stretch them, because if you stretch them out, when they spring back, they're going to be like these little... There we go. All right, so we got our tail on. And like I said, this was an attempt to just, okay, how much orange can I squeeze into one nymph? So for the ribbing, we've got some hot orange wire.
I guess Ryan played ice hockey for 17 years.
Really?
They got ice in Nevada?
Well, they've got a professional team out there. I bet it's not as good as the ice in Edmonton, but okay. So we've got our tail tied, or we've got our tail on. We've got our rib on. Remember, the rib is on the side of the hook facing us. And we're going to go back to our pheasant tail. Now, we don't have to do the tail technique that I did on the first fly because we're using the rubber, the Life Flex for the tail. Just going to even them up a little bit. Get my thread back. Tie them in. And come forward. I want my body to end about right there. Okay. And give this just a little twist. My hackle pliers are packed away. The set that I like to use for this. So we'll just have to wing it old school.
Yeah, Joe Bragg said Virginia needs something like a hockey team will be cool. And there's a teeth joke in there, but I don't want to be mean.
Wait a minute. Oh, there's a West Virginia teeth joke in there.
Yeah, West Virginia. Like hockey players, teeth, West Virginia. The joke kind of spells out itself.
All right, now I've got that wrap. Now I've got my finger on the top of the pheasant tail. I know I'm kind of blocking the camera, but I'm going to come around and I'm going to get 3 or 4 good wraps underneath, and then I'll peel them back forward, or peel them backwards rather, without stabbing myself, and I stab myself. 3 or 4 wraps on the front. Come in with my fine point scissors, and whammo. Oh, it was a half a whammo. Whammo. Okay. Wrap that up. Throw a half hitch in there. And again, we're going to counter wrap. You can see that hot orange really adds something. And we've caught tons and tons of trout on this. I've caught a bunch of steelhead on this too.
Joe Bragger's West Virginia Hillbillies hockey team with missing teeth would be awesome.
Oh, he's from West Virginia, so he can say that.
Yup.
Alright, and we're going to helicopter this off. Now this is where, this next step is where this pattern, I think, where it gets its effectiveness from. And come out of there. For the wing case, we're going to use its black stretch flex. It's 5/32. You can use scud back as well. It's basically the same material. But I've got a little piece down here in the bottom that'll work perfect for this. Alright, so that's going to be our wing case. And I'm going to take and I'm going to cut it to a point like so. And that's going to make it easier for me to tie in. And I'm going to push that point kind of up under the bead. And then that'll grab it. And then I'm just wrapping this back. And you want to make sure that your wing case is on top. So I'll turn the vise towards me and activate my friction knob, and then I can tell that the wing case is right on the top of the fly where I want it to be. And I will take a couple wraps, and then I will pull this forward, and I'll see if I'm back as far as I want to be. And that's not quite enough, so I'm going to take a couple more wraps back. And basically what I'm doing by this, I'm setting, I've already got my abdomen on, which is the pheasant tail and the copper wire. Now I'm setting the length of the thorax. Which is about right there. Will be beautiful. Okay. So this is going to be thorax. Okay, we're going to beef that up a little bit. Now I'm going to take my Life Flex. Now I'm going to turn the vise 90 and I'm going to anchor it. And you can take this Life Flex and you can come in front of and under the thread, and you can pull it right up on the side of the of the fly, and the weight of the bobbin will anchor it there. And you can put a couple wraps in to hold it. And we'll spin it down, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. Anchor it at that 90. This Life Flex's stuff is so dirty. It's almost, it's hard to cut. It's spandex is what it is. And it's a great leg material. It's very, very durable. All right. And now we're going to come under the thread, and then I can just lay that right up on top. I can let it go, and the weight of the bobbin is holding it down. And then I'll put a couple good tight wraps on there, and we'll throw a half hitch. Now remember, you got to get the half hitch around all of your rubber legs in the front, and we're going to go on the cradle. Alright, now for the thorax, Senyos fluorescent orange laser dub. I think I'm seeing a theme here. A lot of Senyos fluorescent orange laser dub out here tonight.
Where do you get the Life Flex at?
Oh, any fly shop should have it. It's a hairline product. There's what this is not black. This is brown. It's in the wrong package, but that's what it looks like. And there's a couple of other companies. Semperfli has one, and it's got a different name, but it's basically the same material. So yeah, you can get them. Any reputable fly shop should have it. Rubber legs will work fine. I kind of like the Life Flex just because it's so durable. All right, so I got a little dubbing here, and we're going to touch this to the thread, and we're going to work it forward, and it just broke. The dubbing broke loose of the thread. All right, let's start that over. Sometimes it can be challenging when you have rubber legs. I had that one rubber leg that was caught in there. And there we go. Okay, get out of there. All right, is that enough? I think I need a little more on there. And we're going to tighten this up here in a second, so don't worry about the fact that it's loose. There we go. Pinch it, tighten it up. And that should be good. Okay, now I'm going to work this, and remember, you got to work it around your legs. So it can be a little tedious doing this. You don't want to catch your legs. You want the legs to stand out on the side. So just take your time, do it right. You're going to have a good looking fly here at the end. Sometimes you can use your bodkin to help you out. And you want this, you kind of want this thorax to be, you want it to be kind of thinner at the ends and kind of bulkier or bigger at the in the middle. So when you're wrapping your material, remember that. I'm going to keep this in the middle, and then when we get here, we're going to come in front of the legs. Work our way around the front legs, and there we go. Okay, and sometimes the dubbing, sometimes you need to manipulate your legs a little bit. Okay, now we're going to take the wing case, we're going to fold it forward, and this is where I think this pattern, what makes it so effective, when you have the black wing case and that hot orange dubbing underneath it, when it's rolling around as it's drifting down the water, it's kind of spinning and rolling and twisting, and they're seeing black, and then they see the orange, and then they see black, and then they see orange, and I think that tremendous contrast in colors has a lot to do. And if I can stop hitting that camera, that'll be great. I think that has a lot to do with the effectiveness of this fly. Okay. And now I'm going to clip this off, so I'm going to pull it up, and then I'm going to clip it as close as I can to the bead. And now we'll go to our whip finish. And another whip finish. And we'll cut the thread and get out of there. And then I will take my sharp scissors and I will fold these 4 legs down. And again, don't pull them, because when they spring back, so you don't want them under tension, and I want to cut them. There's my hook point right there. I want to cut them just a little bit longer than the point of my hook, which is going to be about right there. Like I said, this stuff is hard to cut. There you go. And that is, and I'm going to trim these. That tail got a little long on me. There we go. And that is the that is the PFN, Philadelphia Flyers Nymph. And again, I like orange on all of my trout flies. I think trout are drawn to orange. I think it is a trigger color for them. And this is this would be an anchor in a 2 or 3 fly rig. And I catch as many fish on this as I do the natural that's trailing behind it. All right, questions on that?
No questions.
No questions. All right. What time is it? 8:05. Do you want to do one more?
Do they want us to do one
That's
more?
what I'm asking them. Do they want us to do one more? This is a Big Mess original, and it is a killer pattern.
Is he watching in case you mess it up?
He might be.
He was on earlier.
All right. Yes. One more. All right. One more. All right. Like I said, this is a Big Mess original. This is called the IDK. And what does IDK stand for? I don't know. Literally, that's what it stands for.
Shannon said he's watching and tying.
He's watching and tying? All right. All right. Well, if I screw up, don't dime me out on the live. I just watched your YouTube, like literally right before we came on, so hopefully I'll be all right. Let me pick my thread here. Let me go with, is that an 8/0? Oh no, it's got to be this one. That's right. Look, I almost screwed up right from the get-go. All right. So we've got this is again the same hook, 5262 in a size 12. I have a 1/8 inch silver bead on here. And we're going to lay down, this is red 6/0 Danville's flat waxed thread. And for legs, we're going to use clear tan. Now Shannon, in the video, he uses a color that's more of a smoke. It's kind of like a clear rubber with a gray barring in it. These are the closest that I had. I believe he says he ties this in several colors, this being the most popular, and they also do olive and brown, I believe they have in the bins at the fly shop. And there was another color, and it is escaping me right now. But this one is by far the most popular. I believe this is the pattern that he was fishing most of the day on Sunday. I know he went to a dry and dropper at some point, but I still think this was the fly that was the dropper. And incidentally, Shannon has a way cool way of rigging up a dry and dropper that I gotta have to show you, Tyler. And it makes such perfect sense, and I've never done it before, and as soon as he showed it to me, I was like, yep, I will be stealing that.
Well, good. If for some reason the water's too clear and we got a fish drying dropper for steelhead this year, we'll try it out.
Alright, for the ribbing, we're going to use, this is oval tinsel in silver. I do not rib with tinsel very often. So this is kind of an old school, new school pattern. So this particular tinsel, it's gold on one side and silver on the other. I want to tie it in so that I know that the silver is going to show. So when I do that, the silver is, I have the gold facing me and the silver is touching the shank of the hook right now. And when I wrap it, it's going to fold and it will invert and the silver will be showing. So we've got silver bead and silver ribbing and tan buggy nymph legs. Alright, and I'm just going to run that down here in between my jaws. This may be why I don't rib with this stuff. It takes on the set of the spool that it's on, and it can get a little tough to work with, but not a problem. We'll just pull that down there and that'll be out of the way. Okay, going to throw a half hitch, and we're going to go up on the cradle, and we're going to go back to our hare's ear number 1, natural dubbing. You can use this. I think in the one video, I think he actually clips it off of the hare's mask and ties it on that way. You can do that if you choose.
So, what jaws are you running?
What jaws? These are just the standard jaws, the standard inline that come with every vise that we sell. And spin the thread, touch the dubbing to the thread. And I think that might be enough. Let me fatten that end up there. We want this to be nice and buggy. This is a kind of a jack of all trades nymph. It could be a clinger. I'm sure it could represent a stonefly. It's just a super fishy fly that catches all the time. And the red underbody, when this gets wet, the red will kind of start to show through, and it gives it a good kind of effect. Not that different than Patrick's money fly.
Oh, okay.
Alright, I need a little bit more there. I kind of lost my taper. Throw a half hitch in. I want to get a little. You can see right there I've got a good taper going, and then right there it kind of loses it, so I gotta bulk it up just a little bit. There we go. That'll get me what I want. Okay, that's about perfect right there. Now see how we've got a nice buggy looking. It's got a taper to it. You can definitely see the taper, but it's nice and buggy. That's what I really like about that hare's ear. It's not the easiest stuff to dub with, but it gives you a good look when you're done. Alright, so now we're going to counter rib with this tinsel. Same thing, go underneath. And now be careful with this. You can, if you pull too hard on this tinsel, you can break it. There you go. That gives me the segmentation I'm looking for. And I'll come in here with my fine point scissors and clip that out. Now we're going to make a little dubbing loop here. So I'm just going to, we don't need a lot. This is a small dubbing loop. So it's probably about 1.5 inches long. And I'm going to do a couple of wraps in front, and then I'll go around the loop a couple of times. Pull that tight, wrap it in front again, and throw a half hitch on there, and onto the cradle we go. Now I'm not going to use the vise to spin this one because it's so small and there's only one material in it. So I've got my my dubbing hook here. This one happens to be by Loon. It's got the interchangeable heads on it. Okay, and we're going to hook that into the loop. Twist it up on me. There we go. Okay, now get this open. There we go. Which way? Alright, and all we're going to do in this dubbing loop is we're just going to put another bunch of hare's ear number 1. This is going to be like a collar. So we want to tease this out good. And let me get this loop open again. And we're going to put this in. And we're going to put that in. I'm going to tighten that down. And we're going to spin it. Does not take much. And then we're going to kind of work these fibers to the back. And then each wrap we want to stroke them back. This is going to give it a real buggy. It's going to kind of veil back over the body of the fly. And that's about it. We'll go 3 behind and 3 in front. Now that, as it sits right there, you could catch fish on all day long, but we're going to do one little finishing touch here, similar to what we did on the last fly. I'm going to take, where did my nymph legs go? There they are right there. I got stuff laying all over. I'm not putting anything back in the toolbar.
No, you're not. You can hear it
I
when you
know.
put something in the aluminum, and I haven't heard it.
I know. It takes a while. I have never used a toolbar in my life, and I do like it. And that's kind of the reason why it took us so long to come out with one, because I kind of fought it for a long time, because I just couldn't figure out the design. But we got her now. All right, so we're going to come underneath, and we're just going to bring that right up on the side of the fly.
Yeah, John Earl commented, said squirrel would work as a good collar.
Squirrel would work.
Really
Yes, it would.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. It would work fantastic. This is being tied to in the spirit of the original pattern. Absolutely killer nymph. He showed me this last year when we were down there, and it has become an instant go-to. We're just we want a little bit of a red collar on there for a little hot spot. And we're going to whip finish this bad boy. Oh, get out of there. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to cut my thread out. Now you could absolutely hit that red with some Solarez or one of the other light cured, or just some head cement, if that's what you choose. And remember, don't pull them. I just want to get them down below the fly, and we're going to come just a little bit below the point of the hook, and whammo. And there you go. That one there's a little long. It's still a little long. There we go. That is the IDK. Absolutely killer fly.
Shannon said, nice job.
Okay, well I got a nice job from Big Mess, so that means I must have passed.
Now you gotta go catch a steelhead on it.
But there you go. Oh, I catch a steelhead on that easily. But that's it. That's the IDK. So there's 7 or 8. I had an egg fly prep that I didn't do because we were running long on time. But these are the patterns that we fished last week down in western North Carolina. Had a ball. But need a clamp before the 2-fly attachment. Oh, he's talking about the clamps for the lights. Yeah, that's going to be a few weeks. We've got 100 toolbars and 100 clamps. It's the second batch of 100 that are at the anodizer. As soon as they get back and I get them engraved, they're going to go back up on the website. We're leaving on a steelhead. We're going to be steelhead fishing for 9 days coming up here in 2 weeks. I want to get them up and have them, ready to sell before we leave. Doing my best right now. I'm at the mercy of the anodizer. So as soon as they get them, we're going to try to get them up on the website.
2 weeks from now, we'll be watching the new Yellowstone.
Yeah, I know. I know. I might watch Yellowstone tonight because I'm rewatching everything because I forgot a lot of stuff that happened and I want to be ready for when the new one comes out. Steelhead all day long on that. Yeah, absolutely. That was Patrick. Yeah. Absolutely, I will have some of those. That's one of Shannon's patterns from down there that he trout fishes with, but it'll go right into the steelhead water for sure. Okay. Any questions? We'll hang out. It's 8:19. We did a lot of time. We didn't do a lot of talking. Hopefully, we're going to pull some good views off of this one.
We kept close to 50 the whole time.
Go back to the big camera.
Which a year ago I would have been upset about, but right now, holding 50 the
yeah,
whole time
it's Facebook has kind of screwed us, so we're working on ways to get around that. Unfortunately, it is what it is. So, but yeah, if anybody, if we'll hang out a little longer. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll go back through and look at everything that was posted here tomorrow, maybe tonight. And you can always message me. Somebody's blowing me up right now. So, yeah, whatever you guys want. It was great to see some trout patterns. Yeah, we try to mix it up. I mean, we can't tie trout patterns every time. We can't tie big streamers every time. And that's part of the reason why we go around to different ambassadors and stuff. If it was me, every week you would get smallmouth flies and trout nymphs because that's what I like to fish with. And like I said earlier, I would rather nymph than I would dry fly fish. I love the nymphing game. I love every aspect of it. So that's what you would get from me, but you wouldn't get a lot of the stuff that that we see as we bounce around. So we try to mix it up. Hope you guys enjoy it. So, thanks, bud. I'm going to try and tie a few up for my trip to Maine this week. Up in Maine, I would absolutely tie that PFN, the last two, the PFN and the IDK.
I've done a fair amount of landlocked salmon fishing, and I do very, very well on the orange for
Yeah.
them. So
Yeah.
I believe that PFN's probably a good
Any salmonoid loves orange. I mean, it's kind of like putting a cheeseburger in front of me. You stick it in front of me, I'm going to eat it. And I truly believe that orange just triggers them. The new post clamp will work with the older fluorescent gooseneck lamp. No, they will not. The new clamp will only work with the light. We brought it out about 2 years ago. The light with the USB plug is what they will work with. It will not work with any of the older lamps. All right, I'm not seeing any questions, so we're going to sign off here. And I don't know who is on next week.
It is Halloween, and a lot of people may be doing stuff.
Oh, you know what?
So I think we're going to skip next week.
We were talking about skipping it, or we were talking about just doing like a live tie on Saturday night.
Okay.
But then Brittany's doing her live tie.
It's 2 weeks later,
on,
I think.
It's the 2nd I
No,
think.
it's
All right.
It's one of the Saturdays we're on the geometric.
All right, watch the website. We forgot. Yeah, Sunday is Halloween, so if we do anything, we'll do it on Saturday evening. So watch the website, and we will let you know. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have a good weekend. Get out there, wet a line, and catch some fish.
I thought I was tying next week.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay, Shannon, if you want to tie it, like.
yeah, I would love to have Shannon back on next week. We watch the website. Watch the website. I don't want to tell tales out of school. I don't think Casey is on here tonight. I know they just.
She was on for a minute.
I know they just got back from the Outer Banks. Literally like 4:00 this afternoon. So, yeah. So that's it. Thanks, guys. We'll catch you next time, and have a great week.